whether or not to abolish the boarding system in schools. In Parliament, they're already talking about it. Some MPs, quite a number of them, feel that, yes, we should do away with the boarding system. What do you think? Should we abolish the boarding system in schools?
No, it's
all right. Well, there are others who feel different. All right. Let's move on from that discussion. Of course, this will continue, and it's on most of our newspapers, on the front pages, and at least all the cartoons. 3 cartoons from the major dailies are all talking about the unrest in schools. But there's another bigger discussion that we are meant to have, and that is about the budget. So on the 11th of this month, which is next week on Thursday, the CS for Treasury will be presenting the budget statement officially alongside other East African countries. A lot has been discussed about the budget making process. And I know there's a lot of discussion about the finance bill, but there should also be a discussion around what exactly is contained in the budget estimates. What are we looking forward to spending money on? According to one of the dailies, and I think it's a front page of the Star, it talks about the debt crisis, and the update is that the state is going to pay 2.3 trillion shillings in loan repayments next year. 2.3 trillion out of the 4.8 trillion shilling budget, meaning that it's close to half of that amount. Remember that our revenue projections vis-a-vis the budget estimate, there's a deficit of about 1.1 trillion shillings, which will be plugged probably using through borrowing and other grants as well. So that leaves about 1.4 trillion shillings to work through. And if you look at the budget estimates, only about 700 billion shillings has been set aside for development. We of course know that education takes up about 700 plus billion shillings of that amount, meaning that everything else will have to wait for the 1.1 trillion shillings, which we do not really know where it's going to come from. That's what we want to discuss today, the budget. From the youth perspective, what would the youth expect to be in this budget that concerns young people? So Kenya's proposed 2026-2027 national budget stands at approximately 4.79 trillion or 4.8 trillion as we talk about, marking a modest 1.92% increase from the prior year. Recurrent expenditure dominates at around 3.54 trillion shillings, and the rest is development at 749 billion shillings. So, priority sectors, education leads with over 700 billion shillings. Do you feel that's enough? Do you feel that for the youth of Kenya, this kind of allocation to education is enough? Or what would you want done differently in as far as allocations, with specific focus on the young Kenyans? Come on.
Well, on my view, and I've always said this, that we should make the Ministry of Education to become independent, an independent sector. Some of the problems we're having today in these high schools is because of the theatrics within the Ministry of Education, the systems around the Ministry of Education. But if we can make the Ministry of Education to be independent, it is one of the most critical.
Independent from what?
Independent from the government. Let it have its own budget. Let it make its own decisions. Let them, raise their own, do their things, just like the Kenya National Police. They have their accounting officers, the IG. Let them have their own things to do, that they are not followed up. And then now, the moment that they are being followed up, let them request something that is more clear. I'm looking for a better word to say it, but we need to make the Ministry of Education to be independent, so that and also sometimes we hear that there are some some departments of the government that they are not audited, like the security sector. Well, we cannot say that we will not audit the Ministry of Education, but let the Ministry of Education get what it wants, because this is the future of this nation. Now, the moment we start saying that there is no money for computation, they are giving 95 shillings to a school, some of these things are bad. The moment we start saying that there are some schools in Baringo, in West Pokot, in Marakwet, in Isiolo, in Mandera, these kids, they don't have schools, they don't have facilities, they don't have food, they have very shoddy, facilities, infrastructure to go to school, and they are the same kids competing with these kids in Kiambu, in most developed places. Let us have a centralized formula of education, Ministry of Education. So the moment we start saying that we have a specific budget and it is not, cutting across, and then all these schools, and then now we go ahead to have another budget through the MCA, the NGCDF through the MP, the GAF through the women rep, the governor also has a bursary, the president also has a bursary. All this money, put it all together, let it go to one ministry, let it become independent. Let the schools, if it is schools, let primary schools, and it is CBC, it is one system. Have all schools the same. You get, from end of Turkana to south of Lamu.
All this benefit from the same taxpayers. It's taxpayers' money. This 767 billion shillings for schools is coming from the exchequer.
And now the problem is the taxes are being paid by all Kenyans, but they will be enjoyed by different Kenyans. That is the problem. And then at different levels. You have someone like Dindi Nyoro who will get a bursary of, not a bursary, CDF of 200 million a financial year. The same amount or even much more amount will be got from someone in Baringo or in Marakwet.
So to get you right, Kamau,
yes,
is that you're saying we delink matters education from politicians?
Talk, Abisa. There is nothing as hurting, and I'm saying this as someone who wants to be a member of parliament of Limuru constituency, as having parents seated the whole day wanajaza bursary, and then you just subject them to, that is not dignity. That these kids, they see their parents, they are unable to pay school fees, but their parents go queue the whole day, wanajaza bursary, kubahatisha. That is gambling, and then by the end of the day you're getting 5,000, 2,000 shillings. It is not fair.
And I get your point to some extent. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but my job here is not to agree. His proposal is that we